Hey, good morning, everybody. Bob, Trade Genius. I am back in the world in California and adjusting to what I thought I wouldn't have any jet lag because I stayed on California time the whole time I was in the Paradise Islands. But last 2 days have been kind of exhausting trying to get my sleep back together here. But didn't miss any trading and good things because I think some interesting things are happening. And I'm going to show you a weekly and a daily on GDXJ. And this one we've been trading in and out of. And I think it's ready to break a flag here. This on a weekly here. Had a nice move up 28 to basically 43 area here. 43, yeah, 4270, 4280. And target back at 42. we took some profit on it on Friday on the official thing. I'm still in it because I sold the 40-50 call for next Friday against my position that I got in at 38. And just because I wasn't sure how the week's going to go here, but it looks like if we get any kind of push through here, I think we're going to re-enter because you're looking at a move here from, basically let's call it 28 to 43. That's a 15-point move. And if you count, from the bottom candle here, let's take worst case scenario, 36 and 15, you're talking a push up here to maybe 51 here on a weekly. And we're climbing over now all the volume resistance here, and it gets pretty light all the way up to 43, 44. So I think there's a good opportunity for us tactically on the hourly. It looks pretty good, and it's been basically hitting resistance, pulling back, and I think if it really wanted to pull back, it would have pulled back to this low volume area. It did not, and if you look at the point of control here, this is way down here at 37, so people want to accumulate this thing. And now we have an environment where SPY's up and the gold miners are up, and looks like we're going into our blowout phase of our stock situation. But that's it. I'm trying to keep it simple for you guys too, because you can buy anything underneath it here. We'll go through some of the miners here. SALJ, and I'm showing you the J's. These are the juniors because these are the ones that are going to be the thoroughbreds. They're going to get bought out. They're going to have leverage. They're the ones that are going to rock and roll and give you the most bang for the buck. And look at SLJ on an hourly too. It's just been ripping. And if you look at it on a weekly, same thing. This is a more complicated flag, but this is what I call it, almost like a diamond kind of formation here. But if it breaks through here, again, you're talking a move from 650, to 1150, 5 points from 9 to 5, you're talking 14. So we're looking for some really potential, multi-month breakouts here. And my thing, I'm looking back here, just 65 periods. So this is over a year. So, you're looking at an opportunity here over the next, 6 to 12 months for this to move up 55%. So the underlying miners are going to do probably really well. And if we go into the miners here, and we're just in and out of these things all the time. AG looks like it's ready to break out of a flag, and I'll blast through these pretty quick. ALO is still sitting. AUM. These are lottos. People are asking me in the room what are lottos. ALO is a lotto. AUMN's a lotto. Okay. Somebody else in our room asked about BLDP. We already had this trade on. I think it's probably got pretty stretched. So I would look for a pie to pull back, maybe back down to the center line here before it gets its next move. But we already caught a trade on this once, had a nice quick 2-day trade. Okay. I got stopped out. I was in and out of CDE. I'm going to probably get back in again because my view, I'm going to go to hourly here and I'm going to show you where I think this thing's going to go. Let me just do something here real quick because I have two different chart settings that I like to use. I'll load it as we talk here. Call it the whole shooting match. And just give me a minute here. I'm making sausage here in front of you guys. TradingView is very powerful. We have all these tools in it for our subscribers. That's why you see all these dots and diamonds and squares and just really powerful trading tools. Let me go into CDE. I talked about this before I published this, is that CDE has a potential for go out to weekly, you can see it better. I traced this, by the way, 2 months ago. Okay, it's starting to break out. Sometimes I get too cute with myself and I take profit too quickly because I worry, because I have this service. I hate when people lose money on these things, but if you have a little bit more of a risk tolerance, you could hold this thing. I would probably not hold it anything above 496, and we're looking at probably a 920 inverse head and shoulder breakout here and climbing back up to look at this stuff. I mean, this is I think we're going to climb back to 2016 areas here, so keep an eye on this, and maybe I'll keep the weekly out on this thing just to show you guys. Got this buy pressure here. This is something we just released for our subscribers. This is basically when money flow resets, and the way we do this thing here, you can set sensitivity to it too, so you can maybe look for opportunities that are only deep in the linear regression area, where you can just take it every time it resets, and it works most of the time. Sometimes you're gonna get stopped out, but these moves are pretty tremendous when you catch them right. And so just another tool that we use, we really like it a lot. I trade off this thing all the time on a shorter time frame. And so here's the XK. We just took profit on this one, quick 2-day trade. Again, the XK looks fantastic. Again, if you're a longer term player, I'd own it, and the stop would be below this weekly candle here. So copper's been interesting. It can't getting out of its own way. Had a nice move here. I won't get interested in it again unless it makes a higher high here. I've been burned too many times on it as it's been making these new lows, and maybe it's finally changing its character. But this is telling me that the economy is definitely not out of the woods yet, or the dollar's still too strong. I look at this and I look at the steel stocks. I'll show that one to you in a little bit too. Is once you get higher lows, then XME comes into play. A whole set of steel fabricators and producers, and then copper, and they're way undervalued. So as silver starts to become less undervalued, the copper miners will start becoming the play with a lot of juice. So we'll keep an eye on that as well. Here's FSM. Again, we just got to buy on that one on a weekly, and it's definitely worth taking a peek at. Here's GDX. GDX looks great. GDXJ looks great. Here's Gold Fields. Okay, it's just been grinding. This thing's been ignoring pretty much everything. I mean, I had just one little push down, flat consolidation. Okay, I'm in and out of this one a lot for selling calls against. Here's Goro. Goro has a dividend, so it's a little slower moving here, but even that's starting to grind higher. Just remember, as they keep killing interest rates, people are starving for yield. They're going to find these dividend plays. GPL is interesting. It's struggling. I got to do some research to make sure this is not a stock that's going to go out of business. And if it's not, this is going to be a great value. Okay. GSV is struggling a little bit too. You got to worry when the market's going well and these are still struggling. Probably just don't worry about dealing with them until they can start making some higher highs. Hecla, I think, is coming out of a sort. It's had a really important inflection point here. But again, Hecla has been a great play. Now you're looking at this breaking out here. The next stop here is $3 on Hecla. Here's IAG coming out of an inverted head and shoulders. These things don't have to be that perfect. It just just passed the sniff test. Made a higher low. Now it needs to make a higher high. And then you're looking at a move here, 2 to 4 to 6. Okay, for IAG. Okay, we got in Kinross, got back out. It just grinded on us here. You got to remember, we're short swing trading these things. So if it doesn't make its move pretty fast, sometimes like we get stopped out. I set the stops fairly tight, but roll back into it. Here's a lotto to keep an eye on. MAG was struggling here, so we've had some good trades on MAG, and maybe now look at this. I got a triple, basically a triple indication here. Go buy, so we may be rolling back into MAG again. I like for it to climb over this. I like to get back into this fib here, and then I think we're back on our move towards $14. NAK, it's a lotto. I own this lotto too. NGD, I was asked about this in the room. I think it's getting close to a buy again, but there seems to be so many others that are doing well. But it just made a move here, basically a double. And so there's probably, once it builds its steam back again, there's a chance for another 50% move on that. PAS, we were in and out. I made a little tiny bit of money on it. Got chopped out. This one is had a really good move. So now we'll see if it's setting up for another move higher here again. And but it's just not acting the same way. Sometimes when they make these vertical moves, it takes time to consolidate. I'm staying away from this one. There's some acquisitions involved with it getting bought or it buying somebody. PLG, I'm going to go to hourly on this one. We trade this one a lot. This gives us a lot of 5 to 10% moves. See, the last move we took on it here, 677. And now I'm waiting again. I think it's grinding down. I'm in no hurry. To step in front of the bus, and I'll look for an opportunity for it to take a dive. We teach our students that when it's trending down here, it's a 0.8. This is a fairly aggressive move down, and it needs to penetrate 3 standard deviations to go for a bounce, or you wait for this thing to start flattening out. The silver ETF looks good if you just want to own it. Go back out to weekly again. It looks good. SILJ we talked about already. Here's silver itself. And sorry, here, let me hide that. So I make notes for myself. And so you have it coming out of a flag too. Silver's a great one too if you just want to buy and sell calls and sell puts against to build position. I think silver is going to make its move. I've been telling people that from last summer, by next summer this will be $21. I still am totally in belief of that. I'll show you SPY because I keep SPY on every one of my categories. I think SPY is going to probably go for its blow off here, it looks like. Every time I think this thing's going to roll over, it just jams it again. Now we may get another push down again. But the thing is and I've been wrong on this. I try to catch these very small amounts of money though, with some SPY puts. Is that you catch it, but you can't really make a move. I mean, these are profitable trades, but it's constantly making higher lows here. And this time here, I thought it was a double top, and they had a nice hammer here, and lo and behold, 4 weeks later we made a new high. And now you got to respect the move. We're getting overbought here, but what can happen? You can have a move like this. So you can't be shorting this thing if you're a student of the game. You just if you're long, once this thing comes down, you just get out and wait for the next move higher. But I think we're going to get a blow off here, and so you got to respect that. They're shoving so much money into the system right now. It's I don't understand, quite frankly, really what's at stake here. I don't know if it's political. I don't know if it's some sort of economic warfare. I don't know if it's the banks saying we want Trump. I'm not sure what it is, but our economy is limping along, but it's positive growth, and although the consumer is pretty indebted, but they're not fixing that. They just keep shoving more money into the system. I have a theory on it. and I'll share with you next video, but I'm still trying to understand a little bit better. Okay, I always have SVXY in here. You can't really play it on a weekly because it's so tight. The volatility's been getting crushed. You know, I've been out of it. I trade VXX puts, but every time I think it's going to roll down to get into another opportunity, they just keep crushing the volatility. So I've been unable to get in now for a couple weeks. We re-entered USAS. I love USAS. We've had some really nice trades on this thing, and you know, talking back in the year here, and go out to weekly. You know, so we caught this move coming up off of 150, and now, you know, it looks a little bit like PAS's move, sharp move higher, came down. It held on the this is 65-week moving average, my favorite moving average. This is 13. Is that it held to 65? It's back over to 13, and on an hourly basis, a buy signal, and I think it's gonna rock, and again, this is one of the most well-run mining companies out there. It's good management, good financing, good backers, you know, good inventory in the ground, good assets. And so I think this thing can really move on us. Here's a Lotto, and looking for it to make a turn here. Okay, of course, the CVX6. You can see what I trade all the time. WPM's are just a nice grinder, and so, you know, one of our clients, working with him on just selling calls against this, you know, in the money, just every 2 weeks, and just capturing the premium that's given to you. You can make 50% a year doing that, especially in a stock that just keeps rolling higher. And so this is one to look at. You look on an hourly basis, same way, just nice trend. This is an aggressive trend right here, and it's looking good. It's coming back up. It's holding this 65, and you just, if you're really conservative, you sell in the money. If you're less conservative, you sell out of the money, and you can just keep building position. You could pay down debt. You can roll it into more shares, whatever you want to do. And I think, okay, this is silver short, and I think that's it. So thanks for listening. I think it's going to be a tremendous opportunity for us. We're going into the second week of the month for options, so it may cause some, I'm not sure what's going to happen with the miners, but it may cause the general market to pull back. Oh, I also promised to look at these two, sorry. Here's silver, steel, and I look at it from this is a 60-minute chart, and it's pushing up. If you look at it from a weekly or a daily, it still has some work to do, but it's trying to make a higher low. And then here's the copper, and let's see, you have to go out for futures on that. And copper's down here. And copper looks a lot like steel. So I don't think the economics is quite there yet. This is really a proxy on China. I don't think people are thinking maybe we may be getting past the cycle. I'm still not convinced, but it may get to a point where they just overwhelm the dollar with more dollars, and then copper and steel will move, and then we got ourselves another area to play. So you guys have a great one. I'll talk oil, energy. We're having some good trades in natural gas. There's opportunities everywhere, and just take advantage of it. You don't need to make a lot of money on a trade to over time make a lot of money in your portfolio. Thanks for listening. If you want to trade with us, tradelikeagenius.com. Got great indicators, got a great trading room. We're really engaged. We really want to help people. We don't overpromise. We try to overdeliver. And I think you guys would like being a trader with us. Thanks. Bye-bye.